On May 2, 1949, General Wedemeyer left Truman's office late at night with undisguised excitement. As a result of many weeks of work, he received permission to implement his plan, a plan that could change the fate of 500 million people in China forever. By 1949, the Civil War in China, which had been going on for more than 20 years, seemed to many to be coming to an end. In the crucible of the era of warlords and the devastating war with Japan, only two forces remained alive: the Communist Party of China, led by Mao Zedong, and the government of the Republic of China, led by Chiang Kai-shek and the Kuomintang Party. Despite the formal control of a large part of the country by the Republic of China, its international recognition, and a large, well-equipped army, by 1949, it was on the verge of disaster. Against the backdrop of the corruption and brutality of the military governors of the Kuomintang, the Communists won wide sympathy among the local population. Initially, the much more well-equipped and numerous army of the Republic was exhausted after a difficult war with Japan. In addition, after several heavy defeats, the Nationalist Army lost its numerical and material superiority over the Communists. Conflicts between Chiang Kai-shek and American advisors led to a cooling of U.S. sympathies for the ROC and even an arms embargo against the Kuomintang government. In the end, the Republic, which confidently resumed the Civil War in 1945, found itself on the verge of collapse just 4 years later. General Wedemeyer first visited China during the Second World War, when he tried to modernize the army of the Republican government. In 1947, the general compiled the well-known Wedemeyer Report, in which he pointed out the need to increase assistance to the Kuomintang armed forces and help them. But then, the U.S. government, dissatisfied with the personality of Chiang Kai-shek, the inefficiency of his government, and fearing the excessive influence of China, actually stopped all military assistance to the Kuomintang. But in May 1949, when the Republic of China was on the verge of death, he was able to frighten the administration of President Truman with his analytical report, The Threat of Red China. He described the geopolitical consequences of a communist victory in the world's most populated country.
The short-term consequence of such a catastrophe will be a strong Soviet-Chinese military alliance, the joint efforts of which will lead to the rapid fall of the friendly regime of Korea and the colonial possessions of European empires in Indochina into the hands of the Reds. Then already densely populated India and Pakistan will be under the threat of establishing communist dictatorships. The long-term result could be the victory of communist ideology in Eurasia, and the threat of defeat for the Western world in the ongoing Cold War.
The president ultimately approved the idea of renewed military support for the Kuomintang. However, instead of the decision to send significant military forces in Lend-Lease, Wedemeyer received permission only to form a small military group of volunteers. The American government doubted the potential of the Kuomintang and did not want to get into a bloody war without confidence in the ability of the Chinese nationalists to turn the tide of the conflict. General Wedemeyer was faced with the most difficult mission: to convince the Americans and the Chinese themselves that they could successfully resist the communist offensive and could save the Republic.